Hey everybody, Sean here from VidGamiac.com. Here we are today back in the Halo Infinite campaign, going for the last type of audio log, which are going to be the Banished Audio Logs, and we're going for the Know Your Enemy achievement. First one up is going to be on the first mission, Warship Gabrakan. This is once you get to the bridge of the warship. Before you do anything, make sure you turn your attention to the right. Make sure you drop down here. You can use your grapple hook to make things a lot easier, or you can just walk down or jump down. But you're going to make your way to this back right corner right here, and the Banished Audio Log is going to be right here up against the wall. They're going to be a little different than the other ones. They're a little bigger, and they glow red instead of green. Make sure you pick up your first one, and you should be given an achievement for 10 gamer score for doing so. Moving on to Banished Log number 2. This is going to be the second level foundation. This is when you get to this room with the glowing beam of light going into the hexagon in the background. You are going to use your AI buddy to extend a few bridges and fight some enemies along the way, so make sure you do that, and eventually you should get to the end of the room. Once you take out all of the last enemies and the turrets protecting the last door, you're going to find the audio log at the end of this room. Make sure you grab it before heading into the next one. This one's pretty unmissable unless you choose to ignore it, so just make sure you do grab it before you miss it, and then we can move on. Next one's going to be gone at the end of the third story mission, going into the open world segments of the game. This is going to be after you finish capturing Outpost Tremonius. Before stepping into the Pelican, make sure you turn to your left and then drop down here into the outpost. It's going to be right here up against these storage containers. Make sure you grab this one. Super duper easy. And then we're actually going to move on to the open world missions. So this one's going to be located at the tower. You're going to come here as part of the fourth story mission. Of course, if you don't grab this one on your first time here, you can come back to this location as it is part of the open world. But from the entrance, what you want to do is you want to make your way in to the base of the tower. And then once you get inside, make sure you keep heading forward. And then once you get to the center, make sure you turn to your right. And there should be a building right here that you can head on inside. So make sure you head inside that building. It's going to be this one off to the left, this smaller building. So make sure you grab that, and then it's going to be on to the next one. So the rest of the Banished audio logs are going to be located at both of the main story mission locations, as well as the various outposts across the map. So the first island's outpost is going to be Ransom Keep. Make sure you head here. Every enemy outpost is going to contain at least 2 Banished audio logs. Make sure you do keep that in mind. Also, obviously, it helps to clear out the outpost and capture it before you go for the collectibles. That way you can go inside without dealing with any enemies. But from the fast travel point, which is going to be the front entrance, make sure you wrap around the left. There's going to be the 2 silos for a reference. Make sure you head into this location with the silos, and then you want to turn it to the left here, hug the wall, and then wrap around until you find the audio log next to this rack of tank parts. So make sure you just pick that one up, and then as for the second one, we're going to turn our attention to the right, and then we're going to head back deeper into the base. So facing this wall we just followed, make sure you take a left right here, and then you're going to head to where the buildings are. So make sure you go through this wall, and then you want to look for this specific hangar. Make sure you head on inside, and then right here to your left is going to be your next Banished log. So make sure you grab that one, and that should wrap it up for this outpost. And that should also wrap it up for the first island. So we can continue on with the story, get access to the second island, and then hit up the first outpost right next to the bridge, which is going to be the Redoubt of Suffering. From the fast travel point or the front entrance, make sure you head on inside. And then once you are inside, from the first little wall right here, you're going to head up this hill on the right. And then you should be in this open area right here. From this little turning point, make sure you just keep following the road up. And then eventually you should find this open hangar right here to your left. Head on inside and then grab the audio log in this corner. Once you have that one, the second one is going to be located in another hangar. Make sure you head back onto the main road and then take a left. You're going to head up this hill, and then the first hangar at the end of this road is going to contain your next audio log. It's going to be dead ahead, so make sure you just punch it straight and then grab it leaning up against this part of the wall. Moving on to the next outpost, at the center of the second island, you have the Forge of Tish. From the fast travel point, which is going to be right outside on the main road right here, make sure you turn to your right. It's going to be easier to take this corner side in, so make sure you use your grappling hook to grapple in. And then once you hop the fence, you are going to be inside the base. This is going to be way easier than walking up to the front door, but you should be in this back corner of the base. Make sure you wrap around all of these vehicle racks, and then you're going to make your way into the main hangar, which is this building off to your right. The entrance is going to be all the way in front next to this crane right here, so it is going to take quite a bit of walking, but make sure you get to the hangar and then make sure you head on inside. And the audio log is going to be in the middle leaning up against a pillar. You can use your tactical viewer to help spot it out among all of the environment, but make sure you just grab it right over here. As for the second one in this enemy outpost, it's going to be in the other main hangar, which is going to be the one that leads to the little underground bit. So make sure you head back to the center of the base, and then you want to make sure you turn slightly to your right. You have this big old opening right here. Make sure you head on inside, and it's going to be dead ahead. Thankfully, you don't have to head super further into this building. It's just going to be straight in front of you right over here. So make sure you head on over and then grab it in this corner before the base goes further underground, and that should take care of this outpost. Next one up is going to be located where the fifth story mission takes place at the excavation site. You can come here during the story mission. If you do, you're going to have to wait a while. You're going to have to do the thing where you get the cutscene and then the drill turns on. Then you have to take the gravel lift into the drill and then find it that way after the boss fight. If you come here for the open world bit, you can head into the drill at any time. So to do that, just make sure you head to the front of the drill and you should be able to grapple into the little hangar door. And then it's going to be located at the little control console in the middle. So make sure you get that either during the mission or coming back later on. It's going to be right here, very obvious out in the open, so make sure you pick that one up and then we can move on. Before continuing on with the story, we're going to tackle the northern half of the second island, starting off with this outpost, which is going to be the Armory of Reckoning. From that path that splits the base in the middle, you want to make sure you head in to this side. This is going to be the bigger side of the base. Make sure you head into this hangar. This one's going to be the one with all the weapons in it, and you're going to grab it next to this little console thing right here. And then once you have that one, you're going to head on back outside. From the entrance you just came through, make sure you hang a right and then take this back onto the main road. You should see this three-way choice right here, all heading up a hill. Make sure you go down the center one, and you want to keep heading straight until you get to this little garage in this cliffside right here. You are going to need to unlock it, so either grab a fusion coil or an explosive weapon and then shoot out the lock right here. Inside are going to be some Marines you can rescue, so make sure you do that to curry some favor, also to get them out of the way. But behind them, next to these weapons, is going to be your next log right over here, so make sure you pick that one up, and then we can move on to the final outpost of the second island, all the way in the upper right corner, and this one is going to be the Horn of Abolition. So make sure you head on over here, and another 2 logs to pick up. From the entrance, you are going to head on inside, and then once inside, you're going to hang a right, and then you want to make sure you follow the main road right here until you get to this hangar off to your right. Head on inside. This is the one with the staircase in it, but the audio log is going to be on the ground floor right over to your right. So make sure you just take a sharp right, and it's going to be right here next to this set of storage equipment. As for the outpost's second audio log, it's going to be in the main hangar, so make sure you just leave the way you came, and the main hangar is just going to be dead ahead, so just make sure you head up straight, head up the little hill, and then head through the entrance directly in front of you. This one is going to be quite a ways into this building, so make sure you be a little patient with this one. It is going to take a little bit of walking. Of course, you can't keep popping up your tactical viewer to help you find it, but just wrap around all of this cool stuff, and then through this door off to the right in this corner is going to be your log. So make sure you grab that one, and we should be wrapped up for the second island. So on to the third island. You're going to come here as part of the 8th mission, which is going to be Pelican Down. This one's going to be located at the westernmost gun battery. You're going to be right here. You want to make sure you look for it in this particular hangar right here. Again, recommend coming here during the open world segment after you have the mission cleared. That way you can come here without any enemies. This one's going to be on this workbench right here. Jump on it and then grab it, and then it's going to be on to the next one. This one's going to be at the northernmost gun battery. This one's going to be at the base of the elevator, so make sure you don't head straight for the gun battery. You want to look for the elevator, and then from here at the base of the elevator, you are going to want to turn your attention to this hangar right here. It's going to be this lopsided one to your left. Make sure you head on inside, and the audio log is going to be right here in the back left corner. So make sure you pick this one up. And of course, fittingly so, the last one is going to be at the easternmost gun battery. This one is going to be right here. We are underneath the gun battery for reference. There's going to be the cave with the gravel lift switch as a reference. Make sure you turn all the way here. This is the path that leads downhill. Make sure you take that path and keep following it, and you should see a building right here. And then make sure you head inside this building. And what do you know? The audio log is going to be in here, and picking this one up is going to wrap it up for the third island, the smallest of all the islands, and of course the only one without any outposts, and thankfully the least amount of banished audio logs for us to grab. So on to the fourth island. The first four that we are going to get out of the way are all going to be part of the story mission, The Sequence. These have you go to each of the island's beacons in order to grab some data. You are going to basically head to a beacon, then you're supposed to clear out all the enemies in front, then you finally get to unlock the door, and then you're going to go into each of the beacons. They are all going to be the same once you get inside, and then in each of them, before the little hallway that takes you to where you would pick up the data, you can usually find the audio log floating around the outside of the hallway. So make sure you look for it. Each of the beacons is going to have exactly one banished audio log. And if you miss any of them during your time when you are trying to open up the beacons, you can come back later, as the beacons are going to stay unlocked after beating this story mission. Although you are going to have to wait a little while to get back into the open world if you do continue on to the next story mission. So make sure you do keep that in mind. But these are going to be super easy, and you might as well grab them on your way to doing the story mission objective, since they are out here in the open and they're going to be far away from any enemies. So make sure you do pick them up while you're doing other stuff to save time. So here we are with our next beacon. It's pretty much the same routine every time. Make sure you clear out the enemies, get the entrance open, head on inside, make sure you establish where the audio log is. If you are having trouble, make sure you use your tactical viewer, and then make sure you pick it up, make sure you grab your data, and then get the story progression, and then just move on until you rack up all four. Of course, each four is going to represent one of the cardinal directions, so you have one for north, south, east, west, and then once you have all four of them, you should complete what you need to get the command spire thing open. But of course, that is all going to be part of the main story, so make sure you do manage to grab all of the audio logs while you're doing this. So once you get all four, we should be done with all the story stuff for the fourth island. So we're going to get back to our open world exploration. So in the middle of the fourth island, you're going to have this gigantic outpost in the form of the Riven Gate. We're going to be showing this from the eastern entrance. Again, it's a ginormous outpost, so make sure you do take your time in clearing it. Once you do get it cleared, make sure you take this uphill path all the way up until you get to your first building right here off to your right. Use your grapple hook to save you a bunch of time and walking, but once you get to this building, you want to make sure you head on inside. Once you are inside, you're going to want to stay on the ground floor and then look for it in this left half of the building from this entrance. Grab it right here in all of its glowing red glory, and then we can move on to the second one. Even though it is a ginormous outpost, there are still only going to be 2 banished audio logs, thankfully. Head back outside the way you came. There should be this lift right here, so make sure you take this lift across to the other side of the outpost. Super duper convenient in terms of walking, and you should see this building right here. Once you land, make sure you head on inside, and then in this little hangar right here is going to be your next audio log. It's going to be all the way in the back room, so make sure you head there and then grab it next to all of this storage equipment. Make sure you grab that one, and then it's going to be on to the last outpost of the game, which is going to be Annex Ridge right here. Again, another big one, and for a reference, we're going to be showing this from the top of the elevator that you would take to get in here. So once it's cleared, make sure you turn left, and then you're going to head up this cliff into this red building right here. Once inside, you're going to just punch it straight. You're going to head through this little doorway right here, and then it's going to be all the way in the back in this corner. So make sure you pick that one up. And of course, just like last time, even though this is a ginormous outpost, there are only going to be 2 banished audio logs in here, thankfully. So once you grab that one, we're going to turn our attention to the right. This should take you to the center of the base. Make sure you just keep heading forward. You should have this part right here, which is the main gimmick of the base, which are going to be these 4 Forerunner artifacts. Make sure you head in that direction, and then at the back of this, there's going to be this little garage that takes you into this little underground area. Make sure you do clear out the enemies because they will give you trouble if you left any alive. But head on inside once the coast is clear, and then once in here, you want to make sure you follow this along, and then it's a pretty linear path, so you can't really get lost. You are eventually going to get to this gravel lift right here. The audio log is going to be on the other side of this lift. It might be a little hard because the lift is going to take you back up, so try your best to get around it. And then once you do, you should be able to grab the log right over here, and that's actually going to wrap it up for all of the open world ones. So we are going to head back to the main story, and then we're going to play through the rest of the game until we get to the second to last level, which is going to be the House of Reckoning. So this one is going to be right after your little horde mode simulation. You're going to take this specific elevator after this hologram. Most of this level is going to be holograms and elevators, so trying my best to be super specific right here. But you're going to take this elevator up, and this is going to be right before the second to last boss fight against the Blade Master in the little hangar. So once you get to this room, again, all the rooms kind of look the same, so trying my best to distinguish these apart. You are going to take a left into this door, and then this is the hangar that you want to look for. Again, it's the one where you would fight the Blade Master. You're going to find your audio log right over here to your right. So make sure you grab it next to this little weapon table. And then we have one more to go, which is going to be gone right before the last boss fight. So this is going to be the last boss fight room. And then you're going to head straight before you touch anything in this room to cause any story parts to trigger. Make sure you head all the way to the back, and then leaning up against this pillar right here is going to be the last Banished audio log of the game. Make sure you grab it. If you happen to have the rest of them, you should be good for the achievement right here. But of course, if you did miss any in the open world segment, you can come back and grab them in the post game. Once you have all of them anyways, you should be good for the achievement. 10 gamer score, and that's all there is to it.